I might be offensive. Gus.
Right on, Gus.
Looking at my eyeball sockets.
It's okay, Gus.
Gus, look.
Right on, Gus. I got you.
I'm gonna fix their ass up, Gus.
I know, Gus.
On November 10th, I went into the lobby of the Macon County Courthouse located in Decatur, Illinois. I peacefully, quietly recorded in the lobby, the public lobby, and within moments of walking into that lobby, I was forced out by Macon County Sheriff's deputies. I do?
Yes. You cannot have a phone in here.
In this area right here?
No, sir. Out of the building, please.
Are you sure?
Yes,
What
sir.
is your name and badge number?
It doesn't matter. Can you please
just tell
yourself?
me? I will, but what is your name and badge number?
Remove yourself from the building, please.
Can you please state your name and badge number so I know what I'm dealing with? Can you please state your name?
Thank you. Have a good day.
You're not going to be professional?
I am being professional.
What is your name and badge number?
You don't need that.
Upon re-entry to the lobby, I was not allowed to record, but I did have a conversation with the sergeant working, who we'll just call a manager because he's not a sergeant of anything. He went on to explain that I can't record in there. That's the court order. I'll be arrested if I don't comply, etc., etc. And if I have a problem with it, I could take it up with the judge. But for that time being, he was going to violate my rights. The lady that kicked me out would not identify, no professionalism. I asked her multiple times, I think 3 times, kindly, if she would identify herself. And she wouldn't do it. Just no respect for the public, nothing. No accountability, no transparency, just attitude and unprofessionalism. So this is why we need to audit. And the story doesn't stop there. When I went back the following Monday, the 14th, I believe, they did not bother me. I walked back to the same spot that I was kicked out of before in the public lobby while recording, and they did not bother me. If you go back and watch the video, you will see, I highlight this, Sergeant Flannery, he admits that they learned, that they were wrong, that I was allowed to indeed record where I was standing that day.
Side of the doors.
Are you sure?
The lobby's one thing. We learned that.
You learned that
the other day.
And they were wrong. So I can stop this story right here, and that clearly shows that auditing works. If you expose people doing things incorrectly, that shows that auditing works. I truly believe not one of those deputies ever actually read and understood the court order that they were enforcing. That's a big problem. And the most ironic thing of all is most officers that enforce the law never studied the law. They have a basic understanding of the law. And the only time that they look into anything is oftentimes once they're knee deep into it, trying to enforce something that isn't correct. Most officers will not stop and check a law before they detain a citizen or arrest a citizen. Most of that education happens after the fact. And you know what? If the officer is wrong, no big deal. But with you and I, ignorance of the law is no excuse. With an officer, you can't expect us to know all of them. Tell me that's not a double standard, to say the least. So after I defied their order to leave the second time that I went back to the courthouse, I left the courthouse and I told them that, because they were, the officer Flannery guy was trying to figure out if they were going to arrest me or not. And I told him, look, I'm not going to be in here all day. I'll be outside. Come and get me if you want me. So I stood out front of the courthouse, and I actually had a supporter come down and he was hanging out with me, which I'm going to show you that clip here in a second. And I noticed a sign in the parking area for the public. That sign is a problem. Check out this video and we'll dive back into it. This guy's full of shit. I think he understands what's going on. He's just sitting there chit-chatting. I'll be walking around the courthouse if you guys decide you want to arrest me. It's pretty obvious there's nothing happening right now, and I ain't gonna be here all day. Pussies. Oh, look at this. No cell phones allowed in courthouse. That's a bunch of shit. Their own order prohibits that sign right there. Their own damn order. They changed that order, I'm sure, right? That big blue sign. That says no cell phones allowed in courthouse. This order has been changed because the state of Illinois Supreme Court finally probably got enough pressure from people of their bullshit. But the order that I have in my pocket states that you can bring in cell phones into the courthouse to use to get advice, to set up rides and things of this nature. So this shows you how corrupt this damn government is. They haven't even bothered to change the sign that scares people. So their sign is unconstitutional, number one. But I'm going to show you exactly where it says, okay, read this part. I'll probably clip it and put in the video. That many courts already have policies that address the need for lawyers, jurors, and other court users and staff to carry a portable electronic device on courthouse grounds, recognizing that such devices may be critical for them. This policy authorizes the extension of the same privilege to all court visitors, including SRLs, which means self-represented litigants, I believe. The policy also seeks to respect the interests and needs of the people who enter the courthouses and courtrooms of Illinois, while blah, blah, blah. And just to put this all in perspective, they basically had a law that scared people from bringing a camera in. And if you read the top part of this, it says that, hold on. Let's see, it says, in our current world where portable devices are so ingrained and relied upon, it is simply indefensible to exclusively prohibit litigants who cannot afford an attorney from using such indispensable tools. This policy set forth, blah, blah. So listen to this. In case you're not understanding, I'll put it in a nutshell. People that didn't have the means to hire a lawyer and have proper representation would have to often fight for themselves. And the courts had prohibited cell phones from even coming in the door. So we're not talking about recording. We're talking about just having possession of one. So they finally have probably came from pressure somewhere. I have to do some research to know how this came about, this change. But somebody had to say something about this crap that they used to push, to where it basically crippled people even more from being able to defend themselves, because they didn't have access to look at their phone for any type of evidence, any type of scheduling, any type of information. You couldn't get information if you didn't have your phone. If you want to look up a law or something of that nature, they were killing that off from you by making you leave it. And then they said that people would often resort to leaving their devices under bushes and, stashing them, because a lot of people take a bus to get to court. They don't have a car to go back to. So this corrupt system for years choked out people's right to do that by just scaring everybody and telling them no cell phones allowed in the courthouse. And have you noticed they're not quick to change that sign? They should say no video audio recording allowed in the courtroom and court areas. That would be the proper signage. But they don't want to do that because you know why? They want to keep people scared. They want to keep people under their thumb with their tyranny. That's exactly what it is. What's going on? You want to be on camera? I couldn't answer you, bro, because I'm live streaming. Yeah, no, I saw that you called. How you doing? You good being on camera?
Yeah, I'm all right.
All right, my man. This is a supporter who saw my video on YouTube.
Hey, how you doing?
And state your name, brother. Just your first name.
I'm Shaquille.
Shaquille. So Shaquille came down because he believes in this. He lives in Decatur.
Yeah.
And he told me on the phone, man, he's been through all kind of shit with Decatur. They treating him wrong and abusing his rights. Yeah. And he said he had enough of it too. And he said, hey, I'm down for whatever.
And I mean, a lot of those people are in on it too, you know. So I mean, we just got to take it with a grain of salt, but we just got to make sure we're doing, you know, whatever we have to, and you know, in order to ensure our safety.
I wanted to talk to the judge, but they said the judge was in a hearing. So we're gonna fix their ass up with this shit too. This shit right here, if they can't replace that sign with a proper sign, just take the whole damn sign down.
Exactly.
Because that is bullshit. No cell phones allowed. It should be no recording allowed in courtrooms or adjacent areas. Because they can't even say the whole courthouse because there's other offices in this courthouse. It ain't just the damn courts. They got a coroner's office in there. They got the sheriff's department in there. They got the city attorney in there. It's not just the court building. So for them to put an order out and say, we control everything from the moment you walk in the door is unconstitutional as shit. You telling me nobody can record there? Anything? Or they go to jail? Let's test that boast, bro. You see what I'm saying? And I told him I'll be out there. I said, if you want to arrest me, I'm not running. I said, I'll be right outside the courtroom, the courthouse. I said, you know, because he's on the phone doing the old, oh, let me check. And, you know, 5 minutes later, he's still on the damn phone. I said, you ain't going to play me like a sucker. I was like, if you want to dance, come on out here and let's dance. So we're going to forward this video to the city attorney, and we're going to get that damn sign removed, that unconstitutional sign. And we're also going to get the other signs removed in the lobby, those unconstitutional signs. Because all that shit is bullshit and they know it. The message to the judge. I'm going to send the video to the judge. You control the courtroom and nothing else. You remember that. The courtroom and the areas around the courtroom. Message to the Supreme Court of Illinois. Start there and work your way back. This is ProveAllThingsAudits. They don't want none of this. Ain't nobody doing shit. So we about to hit. Shout out again to my man here for coming out, saying what's up. He got here a little late. He had some other obligations to deal with. That's cool, I understand. But he did show up. He showed some love. Appreciate you, brother. And yeah, I'll hit you up anytime I'm around this area again. And then hopefully by then, man, I hope you get emboldened to get a camera. And if nothing else, if you don't do a damn thing else, record every interaction with these bastards that you can. I don't care if you think that it's going to go good and there's no reason to record because the officer's cool. I don't care if he's cool. I don't care if he's an asshole. I don't care what he is. Record these bastards. Hold them accountable. Don't rely on their bullshit body cameras. Because that's a joke. They mute those and turn them off at will. They go, oh, no, we don't. No, we don't. Yeah, you do. Watch the videos. You see it. It happens all over the place. So you can't count on them. You got to do it your damn self. You know, I'm going to take my mask off. I don't know what I'm talking to you through, man. I do it just to, you know, when I go in there. I'm saying if you see that, record them. Even if it looks routine, record them. From a distance, you ain't got to be all up on them. But just 20 feet away, there ain't shit they can do. They ain't going to like it. But record their ass and hold them accountable. Even if it goes smooth, don't be scared to record them. Because they hate that transparency. That's what they hate more than anything, is being held accountable and let people see. I'm putting this shit on blast and they hate me for it. I've already had people call the sheriff's department, call the court. I got people just calling and typing and doing all kind of shit because they are sick of it as well. So that's probably why I walked in there and they became church mice. They already knew it was coming. They say, okay, keep fucking around. There's a saying called fuck around and find out. fuck around and find out. That should have been my channel name. So anyway, we out. I got your information, brother. Thanks for talking and sharing your testimony. But as you can see, they ain't did shit. They could have came out already. They ain't. That shit's a wrap. That shit is over. If they felt like I just violated some kind of law or some kind of enforceable action, they couldn't have waited to throw me in handcuffs. When I walked in there, guys like, he's in, you know, it's on, or whatever. Well, yeah, it's on, bitches. Let's do it. Let's do it. If you guys are seeing this video, feel free to share it with anybody you want. You don't got to try to make it a different video if you don't want to. I'm not going to come after you for a copyright strike. I could care less about this shit, about copyrights. Share it wherever you want to share it at. Just give me credit for it. ProveAllThingsAudits. And if you have a video that you want me to look at, or you have a story you want me to get at, drop me an email. My email and information is in the description. And also, if you guys support this and you believe in it, please join my Patreon. I'm going to put out, let me get the sun out of your eyes. I'm going to put out videos that are exclusive to Patreon, behind the scenes content, cool shit. I'll make it worth it. If you support me, I'm going to give you some love and show you some things that you won't see on YouTube. I'm really at this. So with that being said, y'all, thanks for watching. Prove All Things. We out here.
Take care.
Take care. So I did a little bit of Googling and digging around, and I found the Illinois Supreme Court policy that talks about portable electronic devices, aka cell phones, effective January 2022. This policy is effective January 22. I will link this in the description so you can read it for yourself. But to give you just a synopsis of what this policy is for years, the Illinois the courts in Illinois, many of the courts denied people the ability to bring in a cell phone. That means you couldn't bring it in at all. You couldn't, it's not about recording, anything like that. You simply could not possess it inside the courthouse. So you had people that were underprivileged that had to ride the bus there, walk there, get a ride there, take a cab there, whatever it is, that were suddenly told their device was not allowed in the courtroom, or court building, I'm sorry, not allowed in the court building. So they would have to go out, stash their device somewhere. They didn't have a car to bring it to stick it in. So they would hope that nobody would steal their device, because the court building supposedly was off limits to a cell phone. That was an atrocity in itself. But eventually, they corrected this issue supposedly in January 2022, which is what this document is from the Illinois Supreme Court. And it clearly addresses this. I don't know where they got the pressure from to change it. I doubt that they did it of their own benevolence. But at some point they realized, okay, we are crippling a person's ability to look up case law, to arrange rides, to call into work if something doesn't go the right way and they need more time to deal with the matter that they're there at court for. The attorneys and the DAs and all these type of people have always been allowed to use electronic devices in the court building, but the defendants were not. The general public was their hands were tied. And keep in mind, you had to go through a security checkpoint, and they would turn you right out the door if you had a cell phone. So just think of how many people that impacted. However, let's move forward and say, okay, in January 2022, that the Illinois Supreme Court said that these, and I quote, that these portable electronic devices may be a court visitor's only available source of important and essential information, for conducting courthouse business or presenting evidence relating to their case. So think about that. That's the gist of this whole order, right? It talks about how important it is for defendants that, especially self-represented, I think they call it self-represented litigants, they call it SRLs, how important that this is for them to have the right to be able to access information from their cell phone or iPad or whatever inside the courthouse. This has nothing to do with audio and video recording. This is simply talking about having the device available for you to present evidence or for you to do research on something dealing with your issue at the court. So this document that is supposed to be in effect on the January 20 2022 clearly states this: every courthouse in Illinois shall issue and publish a court order, standing order, or local rule allowing portable electronic devices subject to screening, including through courthouse screening devices. Every courthouse's policy shall include the following rules detailed in paragraphs D1, D2, subject to restrictions of paragraph D3 through 6. So, this outlines all of the rules, if you will, regarding having a cell phone in a courthouse. It says about use in the common areas, use in the courtrooms. You know, of course, you're not allowed to record without permission, actual trial, things of that nature. No problem here. I get it. I agree with it. It's totally legit. The judge should control what's happening in the courtroom and the areas immediately adjacent to the courtroom. That's his jurisdiction. We grant him that power to control that in order to keep the trial running smoothly and fairly and justly. So the people grant him that authority. However, when they take it past that and go, the whole building is underneath my control, all the offices in it, all the other branches, such as the coroner, the state's attorney, the sheriff's department, all of those are in this building, and therefore I am the lord of this building. That's bullshit, because his authority doesn't reach that scope. His authority is in the courtroom, the areas outside of the courtroom, and in very, very limited circumstances, he might be able to have a temporary order that goes past that if it's a high profile case with somebody like O.J. Simpson or something of that nature, where there's tons of media and there needs to be further control of things. But generally speaking, his control is his courtroom and the areas immediately adjacent to the courtroom. That's per the Supreme Court. So this goes on to outline all of the if, ands, buts, and coconuts about the recording. So having a cell phone and the fact you can't record in some places, etc. No problem. We get it. But it nevertheless still outlines that you can indeed have a cell phone within the courthouse. Well, what about Macon? What about Macon County? Well, Macon County issued their own court order, filed January 19th, 2022, signed by Chief Judge Randall Rosenbaum and presiding Judge Thomas Griffith, that basically defies the Illinois Supreme Court's rule. Once again, Illinois Supreme Court rule effective January 2022 clearly states Every courthouse in Illinois shall issue and publish a court order, standing order, or local rule allowing portable electronic devices subject to screening. Okay? Right there. Right there. Their rule. This right here clearly says portable electronic devices being used in the Macon County Courts facility. Not courtroom, not adjacent areas. Just using a portable electronic device, cell phone, in the facility can interfere with the administration of justice and may cause a threat to safety and security. Wonder whose safety and security? It certainly isn't the citizen they're worried about. It's their safety and security, and they don't care about trumping your rights to do it. Trampling, stomping, crapping, shitting on your rights to record and have a clear, objective record of what's going on with you outside of the courtroom. They don't have a problem with stomping on that right at all. This is a clear violation of their own governing body. Clear defiance. There are signs around the Macon County Courthouse. Soon as you try to drive into the parking lot, as you've seen in the video, no personal electronic devices allowed in the courthouse. There are signs going into the courthouse that you can't have a cell phone. No cell phones allowed. Multiple times. No cell phones, no cell phones, no cell phones. Shitting on the people that need cell phones in order to operate. And this is clearly stated and clearly established by the Illinois Supreme Court. This rule in itself is unconstitutional because you don't need anybody's permission to record in public, even in a courthouse. But the irony of it is their own rules they don't follow. Their own rules, their own governing body issued rules, and they defy them. That's supposed to be justice? That building is what's issuing justice to the people? Think about that. That's a problem. And I'm exposing it. Their signage is goofy. The way they're following their superior court's order is bad and goofy because they want to protect themselves. And we're going to expose them. I'm going to put the phone number to the clerk and any other information that's pertinent to this. And I encourage, if you have an issue, to redress your government. I have somebody there in Illinois who's willing to go back by and double check on things and make sure that the signage gets corrected. So we're going to stay on their neck until they get this done right. And then we're going to show you the power of what an auditor can do. The First Amendment protects everybody as press. That's why it has freedom of press. You guys need to learn that. Not everybody's scared of your damn badges and guns.